let me just make sure I got the right one. Here we go. So you can see here, guys, this is the track. We're going to go through this now, discuss what corners they really need to be looking at to gain a little bit of track time here. And then we're going to go on board on a video, and we're going to watch the car go through. Okay, so you can see here, guys, that number one, this is La Source, the main number one. The first corner here. Now this is really from 7th gear down to 2nd. Now I doubt anybody's going to be taking first gear through here. The way their gearing is set up, probably 2nd. It's quite important to get out of La Source very, very well, because you've got the big long straight downhill, and downhill you're gaining momentum, you're getting the speed up, and then you go through Eau Rouge, which is just the most orgasmic corner I've ever driven through. Now guys, if you're watching me on YouTube, if you see the way I am, right, like, to explain how steep Eau Rouge is, this is the only way I can explain it. And by the way, you can't see it on video or photos. It just does not do it any justice. How steep Eau Rouge is, right? If you're watching me on YouTube now, you're seeing me. Let's say that's a track flat level, right? No steep uphill, downhill. It's just flat. Eau Rouge is like that. And I'm not joking you. It's that much gradient. I'd love to try and find you something, and maybe I'm going to try and look into that more as I go here, where I can try and give you an idea of the gradient, the gradient levels, because it is an easy corner for Formula 1 drivers. The downforce, the speed, the grip levels. For Formula Ford when I was racing there, it was quite easy too. For us, it was just a tiny little lift going in, depending on how your setup was, and then you just put the boot down, go through Eau Rouge, and then you've got this big long straight up the back and carry the speed up. So it's very, very important to just keep it nice and smooth through Eau Rouge. It's no problem for the Formula 1 drivers, believe me, guys. But it is important though to get out of La Source, get the speed up, carry the speed all the way down that straight, go through just nice and smooth through Eau Rouge, and all the way up that long straight down the back. Now, if you see here, we've got number 7 here, the corner number 7, Lecombe. Now, this is quite important too. They'll come from about 8th gear down to 4th for this. Now, again, depending on their gearing, but probably 4th. And it's really now quick on the brakes, fast, and it looks quite sharp, this corner, but it's not. It actually opens up quite a bit for you going through. So it can be a bit deceiving on camera, I think, really, on video. Even if you were driving it now, like the first time you go through it, it's like, holy shit, it looks tight enough. But the corner does open up for you quite a bit. So they'll come from 8th to 4th. They'll keep the speed up. They'll try, once they go through the right-hander here, they're going to try and keep it over a little bit to the right, and then up onto the curb onto 8. Keep the car over to the left for number 9, Malmedy. Because then if you get the line right through here, and you keep the momentum, keep the speed, you can probably just get on the curb in Malmedy and just put the shoe downhill into Rivage. Now Rivage, long sweeping corner, they'll probably go from, let's see, so if they're going here 4th, they'll probably get up to 6th, between 9 and 10, between Malmedy and Rivage. Back down to 3rd, I think, really. That's probably the fair gear going through here. 4th gear, if they've got good speed, if they've got good grip levels, well, maybe 4th, but probably 3rd. And Rivage is downhill right, and it just goes on and on. Like this photo doesn't do it actually justice. It actually seems much of a longer corner when you're driving it, than it looks on the camera here. Now you get out of Rivage, you go up, let's say from 3rd up to 5th. They should be holding 5th going through turn 11. And for me, guys, when I won here years ago, and I still think it's the most important corner, turn 11. Some people go, really? You think so? Here's the thing. Turn 11 is a downhill left-hander. Now, what happens here is once you go through turn 11, if you take a good line through, if you get a good run through 11, you're going downhill once you get to the exit of the corner, and you're going downhill all the way down. You've got to carry the speed down, and then you're going into Pouhon, which is number 12. Now, you've probably seen this on onboard. This is very, very fast left-hander. They'll probably do just a little lift, okay, in 7th, I would say, depending on their gearing now, but probably 7th. And they'll carry the speed from 11 to 12 all the way up to 7th. I don't think they're going to go from 8th because you'll kill your momentum if you had to change down gear going into Puhan. So you got to just get up to 7th, probably hit the rev limiter. If you hit the rev limiter just before you brake, even better. And I mean just before you brake, okay? Or you're just about to hit the rev limiter. So you got to really carry the speed in here. You're going through in 7th. Little lift, very slight little lift, depending on their grip now, of course, but we'll see on the video. And just floor it once you actually start turning in. Keep it inside, keep to the apex, keep to the apex. Let it run wide out to the right. And then you come up to fan, and you're down from probably 8th to 5th. This is quite a quick part of the track. So it's a quick right in 5th gear, up onto the curb and the left-hander 14. And then you're into Stavolo 1 and 2. Now these are obviously very important corners too, because you've got the big long straight all the way up to the bus stop chicane. However, you see, some people would actually argue with me that some people would say, and I've heard this before, that La Source turn 1 is the most important corner on the track, because you're coming out of there at a slow speed, you've got to keep the speed up, and you've got Eau Rouge all the way up the back, and you have to carry the speed up. Some might say that, and you know what? It's a fair point. Then you've got other people saying that Stavolo 1 or 2, probably 2, would be the most important part, because if you get a good run out of Stavolo 2, you keep the momentum and you carry that speed all the way up this long straight, all the way up to the bus stop. Alright? So really people would focus in on getting to a top speed, the highest speed possible at the end of those 2 straights. Now, both very fair points. But really, guys, I don't agree with it either. I think you've got to go one fucking better. And this is where when I was racing there, and this is where I actually really focused on turn 11. Because if you're anyway half decent as a racing driver, you should be carrying the speed coming out of La Source. You should be carrying the momentum through Eau Rouge and all the way up the back straight. Like, that's our job. And the same for Stavolo 1 and 2. You should be carrying the speed out of Stavolo 2 all the way up the main straight to the bus stop and getting the highest speed you can. Like, that's our fucking job. So I don't think that's the most important part. That should be basic enough, right? Turn 11 for me is the most important, because you can easily overshoot the apex a little bit going, like if you carry that little bit too much speed going into this bend, you can actually overshoot the apex. So, I mean, it really is a fine art, because it's a downhill corner as well, a left-hander. Now, if you get the apex beautifully and you carry that speed, you're carrying the speed all the way downhill into Puhan. And number 12, it's not a big challenge for the drivers, because most of them are doing the same thing anyway. A little lift if they're struggling with grip, little lift, and then back on the shoe again. So you've got to carry all that speed out of 11 into Puhan, and then that translates into 13, 14, 15, and 16. And then therefore, what do you have? The big long straight down the back to the bus stop. So for me, 11 is crucial. It is key. Now, let's go on board and let's see what we're at. Now, let me just double check and make sure everything's set up here. I think we do. Yep. Okay. So we're going to go on board here now, guys. We're going to go on for one full lap. Now, let's see what they do. Now, we got Charles Leclerc. He's going to get up to 7th going into the bus stop. Now, he's down 5 gears in 2nd gear. He wants to be smooth out of here. That curb. Get on that curb. He just overshot it. On that curb. Yeah, he touched the curb. Shoe down, shoe down. That's it. Here we go. Now down into 3rd. See the way it's a long sweeping corner, guys? You see what I was on about there? Now here we go. The most important corner. Now actually, I'm going to go back 1 second. Did you see he actually overshot the corner a wee little bit? Now guys, this is his pole lap, and he still overshot the corner just that little bit. And I can understand. I actually, you know, when I was practicing in Belgium, trying to get up to speed and get the car into a perfect setup, I struggled, right? Because you're trying to carry too much speed into the bend, and all of a sudden, and you get that feeling of you feel you can carry a lot of speed into the bend, and all of a sudden the corner goes, no, no, no. So let's just show you again here, right? Now let's go back. Okay. I'm gonna pause it here. There you go. See, now it's ever so slightly, but you can see here, look, he's just missed the apex a little bit. So again, it's not a huge mistake he's made, because he's still got it on pole, but he definitely lost it just a little bit there now. Now, he's going downhill now, guys, okay? Before I start, I'm going to interrupt you here. This is crucial. Get out of turn 11, get downhill, and guys, you've no idea how steep this part of the track is here. He's got to make all that momentum work for him here. Downhill into Pouhon. He has a little lift. From 8th to 5th. Now, some might actually say that it doesn't sound like he did lift. He might have just scrubbed off speed. It sounded to me he actually lifted off just ever so slightly, or what he did was he backed off just a touch and kept it at that. And then back on again. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. There we go, into Stavolo 1. Keep the speed up. On the curb, Stavolo 2. Get to the apex nice and smooth. Let the car drift out. Very nicely put, and very nicely done, should I say. See, this is a long straight, guys. Tiny little bit of a scrub. Down into 2nd for here. Oh, just missed that apex ever so slightly. He actually lost a tiny bit of time going through there. And that's his pole lap. So guys, that is the pole. It's all about getting out of turn 11. You gotta get out of turn 11 because that's the key. It really is. It truly, really is. But going through Eau Rouge, telling you lads. Unbelievable. Alright, so any more news? There's no more news really just as yet, guys. I mean, it's great that we got back-to-back races now from Hungary, 1 week later into Spa. I think it's going to be great. Okay, prediction time. Well, Jesus Christ. I'm going to keep going with the predictions this year. You know what? It's a bit of fun. I'm not even getting half of them fucking right. Jesus, but let's go with it. Let's go for it anyway. This weekend, I think Verstappen's going to take it. I would normally say Ferrari should be good around here, and normally they have been very good at the last few years. For some reason, I don't have confidence in them here, lads. Come here, like they've